Emily was heartbroken.
I really want that new phone for Valentine's Day.
Emily pretended not to catch his hint and brushed it off.
Oh, that's nice.
Emily was an ordinary college student. She had spent all her part-time job money on John over the years, new clothes, shoes, covering his overspending.
I know this isn't right, but I love him so deeply.
Emily felt like a candle, burning herself to light John's way. However, something felt off. John started zoning out more during their dates, and conversations became increasingly superficial.
I'm going to bed at 8 p.m. Don't bother me.
When Emily didn't get him the phone on time, he hadn't replied to her messages for a week. In despair, Emily's dad walked into her room.
Emily, I have a secret to tell you.
Dad, stop joking.
Emily, you're actually an heiress.
He pulled out 3 suitcases from under her bed and opened them to reveal property deeds.
Dad, if we're so rich, why do we live here?
We live here because it's convenient for collecting rent. Besides, do you know how much these apartments cost per square meter?
Emily's dad looked at her with an expression that said, "See, this is why I didn't tell you we're wealthy."
Finally, I can get John that phone. I have a reason to see him again.
Ah, her love was back. As a landlady, I encountered an unprecedented challenge. The first time I tried to collect rent, I was met with frustration. None of the employees in this store were willing to acknowledge me.
Hello, I'm looking for your boss.
Oh, looking for the boss? How quaint and outdated. In an international brand like ours, the person in charge is called the director.
The flamboyantly dressed sales assistant gave me a disdainful sideways glance.
I'm looking for your director.
This time, the sales assistant didn't even spare me a glance, focusing intently on her phone.
Which backwater did you crawl out of? Do you think you can just meet the director whenever you want?
A vein throbbed on my forehead. My father taught me from a young age not to bully others.
To hell with not bullying others.
I was about to throw down my bag and speak up when the sales assistant ran off. She ran away.
Forget it, no point in getting angry. Collecting rent is more important. After all, I still have a movie date with John tonight.
I switched targets, but the person didn't even give me a chance to speak, just glanced at me and said,
No trash bin, no water bottles.
What? Did I look like a scavenger?
I decided it was best to ask my dad for the tenant's phone number directly. With the attitude of these sales assistants, I wouldn't be able to collect the rent by tomorrow. Just as I pulled out my phone to make the call, a familiar voice came from behind me.
Anna, your phone is a bit old. Tonight, I'll get a new one from that sucker and give it to you tomorrow.
I quickly hid behind the counter, stealing a glance to confirm. I hoped it wasn't him. But reality proved me wrong.
You go on dates and watch movies with her all the time. You don't really like her, do you?
The sales assistant who had just given me a hard time was now nestled in my boyfriend John's arms like a docile kitten. Hearing Anna's words, John held her tighter, his eyes full of affection.
How could I? My love for you is as clear as day and night. Being with her is all for us. Didn't we agree that I would pretend with her so she could work and earn money for us? You wanted to travel, right? We'll go when you have a break, and then we'll be a happy couple, free as birds.
A happy couple? More like a pair of adulterers. I was so angry I could have ground my teeth to dust.
Just don't touch her.
Anna's frown relaxed a bit.
I swear to the heavens, I won't. If she weren't rich, I would have dumped her long ago. She has no figure, no taste. How could she compare to you, my little vixen?
With that, the two of them started kissing passionately. Disgusting. Utterly shameless. I don't know how long I crouched behind the counter. When I stood up, I nearly fell over. A salty, metallic taste filled my mouth. I had bitten my lip without realizing it, and my eyes were wet.
Such a despicable man isn't worth my tears.
If he thinks he can take advantage of me, he'd better be ready for my revenge. After much deliberation, Emily finally arrived at the cinema entrance.
John wants money, doesn't he? Well, starting today, he won't get a single penny from me.
Hey, babe, you're here.
Seeing John's bright smile made Emily feel a wave of disgust. Her mind was filled with the image of him calling that salesgirl a little vixen earlier today.
I must have been blind to have ever liked someone like him.
To catch a fish, you need the right bait. Emily had arranged for a professional.
Let me introduce you. This is my best friend, Sophia. She just returned from studying in Japan and doesn't have many friends here. Can we bring her along?
John was visibly stunned when he saw Sophia, practically drooling with his eyes.
Men.
Emily, what does Sophia like to drink? I'll go get it.
Emily used to be such a fool, ignoring his blatant favoritism.
Johnny, I want a new phone. Will you buy it for me?
Emily, is something wrong with your eyes? Why do you keep rolling them?
Jerk. If I didn't roll my eyes, I'd have to look at your disgusting face. Humph, you're just trying to change the subject. Are you going to buy it for me or not?
John hesitated, but with Sophia there, he didn't want to make a scene. Emily decided to up the ante and gave Sophia a look.
John, Emily says you know a lot about electronics. I haven't gotten a new phone since I returned. Can we go together?
As she spoke, she subtly leaned closer. No wonder she's the top-rated rental girlfriend. Just one sentence, and John was practically drooling.
Sure, we'll go after the movie.
Let's go now! What's so great about the movie? Let's go shopping!
Emily dragged John from buying a phone to a tablet, from hats to shoes, not missing a single item.
I think you just like other girls more. You don't even want to buy me anything. Everything you're wearing and using, I bought for you. The one time I ask you to buy something, you start making excuses. You don't love me anymore.
Whenever he hesitated, Emily would complain. To shut her up and impress Sophia, John paid for everything without a second thought. Emily used to go out of her way to save John money, carefully crafting various discounts to maintain his male pride. Free amusement park tickets from a raffle, Michelin restaurant vouchers from purchases, high-end buffet coupons from friends, and branded sneakers bought at a bargain. She even secretly prided herself on her cleverness. But he knew everything. In the end, the only fool was her. After buying a ton of stuff, Emily deliberately steered John towards the Hermes store. Didn't he call her unsophisticated?
I can't wait to see the look on the little vixen's face when she sees John paying for everything and catering to my every whim.
But Emily had still overestimated John's shamelessness. As we approached the luxury goods section, John suddenly cried out in pain and grabbed my arm tightly.
Emily, my stomach hurts. Can you come with me to the restroom?
Seeing him like this, I knew he was up to no good again. I really didn't want to deal with his antics. Sophia noticed my reluctance and stepped forward, linking her arm with John's.
John, are you okay? Maybe we should go to the hospital?
John shot me a fierce glare from an angle Sophia couldn't see, bending over even more and gripping my hand tighter.
Sophia, I'm fine. Just need to go to the restroom.
Without waiting for a response, he dragged me along.
Sophia, wait for us here. We'll be right back.
John pulled me to a corner and immediately straightened up, his expression changing.
Emily, I think you're doing this on purpose. You promised to take me to a movie and make up for missing Valentine's Day, but instead, you dragged me here to buy you a bunch of stuff. Don't think I won't confront you just because your friend is here.
Well, I thought John had pulled me aside to borrow money, but it turns out he couldn't hold it in any longer. Truly impatient. I raised my hand, admiring my newly done trendy cat claw manicure. Very sharp. Seeing my indifferent attitude, John got even angrier.
Emily, if you know what's good for you, leave now. Stop getting in my way. I'll send you the bill for the stuff you bought. Transfer the money to me tonight.
How audacious. Transfer money to you? I must have really been blind to have ever seen John in a good light. This is classic bad behavior. He wants me to leave so he can have some alone time with Sophia? My boyfriend flirting with my best friend and expecting me to pay for it? I must have been under some spell. Seeing me lost in thought, John lost his patience completely, turned around, and walked away, leaving me with one last sentence.
Don't forget to transfer the money. Take care.
Humph, does he think I'm still the pushover he can manipulate? My manicure won't go to waste, I'll scratch his face. But just as I took a step forward, a strong force pulled me back. I turned around angrily.
Who are you? Mind your own!
The last word got stuck in my throat.
Oh, Counselor Alex, what a coincidence. Are you here for the restroom too?
I couldn't help it. For any student who has gone through rigorous exams, a counselor has an inherent authority over us.
Don't chase after him. He doesn't love you.
Counselor Alex's gaze was filled with emotions I couldn't decipher, but my usually oblivious self interpreted them all as sympathy. Should I explain myself?
You're at the best age right now. Don't lose faith in life because of a failed relationship. Focus on your studies. I remember your team has been applying for the modeling competition for 2 years without success. This year, I'll give you my recommendation spot. Go home and prepare for the competition.
The modeling competition! This was too tempting. Our team hadn't gotten a spot mainly because of me. The first year, John lost a game of truth or dare and made me skip class to bring him stomach medicine. The class I skipped was taught by the teacher in charge of the competition, who then labeled me as an academically irresponsible student. The second year, John miraculously invited me to study at the library, only to steal my notebook with our application work. This time, our team went from being academically irresponsible to academically dishonest. I felt guilty. My 2 teammates had worked hard for 2 years, but because of me, we didn't even get a chance to compete. Now, finally seeing a glimmer of hope, even though it came in a somewhat underhanded way, I couldn't help but want to seize it.
Thank you, Counselor Alex. You're right. I need to use my studies to heal my broken heart.
What's a better way to get back at a bad boyfriend than to focus on my studies? I love learning. The counselor kept his word, and the next day, Emily received the invitation to the modeling competition.
Seems like staying away from John is bringing me good luck.
Holding the invitation, Emily found herself in a dilemma. Her team members were her roommates, and because of John, she had quarreled with them multiple times, even drawing a line in the dormitory to separate them. She wasn't sure if they would forgive her this time. Determined to make amends, Emily bought a bunch of barbecue and beer and brought them back to the dormitory.
Turning her head away, "Oh, it's you."
Lowering her head and smiling bitterly, "Jessica, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I was blinded by love and spoke without thinking. I only realized John's true nature yesterday. You were right, he's a scumbag.
Emily wanted to continue apologizing, but Jessica interrupted her with hurried actions.
Grabbing a mop. Where did he hurt you? If I don't break one of his legs today, my last name isn't Ning.
Huh?
Seeing her stance, Emily quickly broke free from her grip and blocked the dormitory door.
You're still protecting him at this point? Emily, you disappoint me.
What on earth? No, Jessica, listen. Yesterday.
Emily explained yesterday's events to Jessica as quickly as she could.
My roommate is actually a rich second generation?
Sister, isn't your focus a bit off? Shouldn't the main point be that we can finally participate in the modeling competition this year?
The modeling competition is still some time away. No rush, no rush. Let's deal with the scumbag first.
Jessica suddenly pulled Emily up, looked her up and down, and said suspiciously,
You haven't been swapped, have you? It's amazing that your brain can finally figure things out.
Ahem, we can't let the scumbag off the hook, but we must win this year's modeling competition.
As soon as Emily finished speaking, there was a burst of laughter at the dormitory door. Olivia had returned.
Grabbing Emily's hand. Emily, look, John was on a date with another girl at the mall yesterday, and they were holding hands.
I know. I arranged it.
Damn, Emily, have you lost your mind? Let's cut ties. I can't have such a useless roommate.
Emily quickly explained, breaking her personal record for the fastest speaking speed twice in one day. Watching her roommates drink beer and eat barbecue, Emily felt very fortunate. Thankfully, she didn't wake up too late and almost lost her precious friendship. Sophia was quite effective. Within just a week, she had coaxed John into spending nearly 100,000 yuan. From the balcony, I saw John holding a bouquet of roses and calling me from below the dormitory, and I felt a wave of disgust.
Jerk, only thinks of me when he's out of money.
Olivia, standing beside me, looked at me with a face full of anxiety. My heart warmed, and I patted her hand on my shoulder reassuringly.
Don't worry, I won't go soft.
I had initially planned to let him off the hook for now and let Sophia handle the follow-up. But since he came to me on his own, he can't blame me for being ruthless. I calculated the time and figured the person I had arranged to meet should have arrived. I wanted to leave Olivia in the dorm, but she insisted on coming alone. It was just as well. With her help, my chances of success were greater. We went downstairs together. I went to meet John alone while Olivia stayed around the corner, ready to livestream with her phone.
Emily, why haven't you been answering my calls? I sent you messages on WeChat, and you didn't reply. What's going on?
Starting off with accusations, John must have lost his mind. With that attitude, he still hoped to get money from me? I wanted to slap him right across the face.
I'm sorry, honey. I was just tutoring online and didn't see my phone. If I had seen your call, I would have skipped class to meet you right away.
John's expression softened a bit.
It's the 15th. You got paid this month, right? Last time I asked you to transfer the money you spent on you and Sophia to me, but you didn't see it?
I slowly let go of his shirt and looked down without speaking.
Who are you putting on this act for, Emily? I told you, I hate it when you act like someone bullied you. It's disgusting. Fine, I'll be the bigger person and forgive you.
John handed me the roses as if he were doing me a favor.
How much did you get paid?
3,200.
What? That little? What were you doing last month?
John was furious, spitting as he spoke, almost pushing me against the wall.
Emily, when are you going to pay back the money you owe us? You have money to spend on a pretty boy, but not to pay back your debts? Do you think Bill's name is just for show?
Luckily, help arrived just in time. If they had been any later, I might not have been able to keep up the act and would have slapped the jerk.
Bill! I pretended to be scared out of my wits, bowing my head and apologizing repeatedly, begging Bill for more time.
Seeing Bill and his crew, John immediately lost his nerve and tried to slip away, but Bill's men blocked his path.
Are you Emily's boyfriend?
Bill hadn't even finished his threatening words when John hurriedly denied it.
No, I don't know her.
Oh, you don't know her? Trying to fool me? You've got a death wish.
Bill, Emily is my ex-girlfriend. She's plain and cheated on me. I only agreed to be with her because she kept pestering me and threatening to do something drastic. To be honest, she spent a lot of my money. I came here today to settle accounts and break up with her.
John was quite adept at twisting the truth. His sincere tone and innocent expression might have convinced the onlookers who didn't know the real story.
John, you pursued me for 2 months, and I didn't agree. You had your roommate tell me you had hurt yourself and were in the hospital. To calm you down, I agreed to be your girlfriend.
I couldn't hold back my tears anymore. Even though I knew John was a jerk and not worth it, my feelings were genuine. How dare he trample on my dignity like this?
I, Emily, have been nothing but good to you, and everyone can see that. For over 2 years, I worked 2 jobs to support you. All the money I earned went to you. You were the one who cheated, flirting with my best friend right in front of me. Did you really think I didn't know?
I took out the photo Olivia had sent me of them holding hands and shoved it in John's face. Then I turned to Bill.
Bill, the money I borrowed from you was all spent on him. His shoes cost $1,600, his shirt $599, his pants $1,200, his headphones $1,000, his phone $9,000, and he spends $6,000 to $7,000 on his credit card every month.
John tried to argue, but seeing me pull up the transaction records on my phone, he gave up.
Yes, I spent it. So what? You, Emily, were willing to spend on me. The money wasn't borrowed by me. Blame yourself for being foolish, not me. Gentlemen, please step aside. The debt is hers, not mine. I won't interfere with your debt collection. I'll be on my way.
Bill looked at me, silently asking if he should stop John. I subtly shook my head. No need to stop him. Let him go. We're recording this, and it wouldn't look good later. I had Olivia livestream on the campus network with the title, Master of Manipulation. John cared most about his reputation. He always acted like a model student in front of the teachers, hoping to get into graduate school here. Such a morally corrupt person doesn't deserve it. I wanted to ruin his reputation. John walked out of the encirclement triumphantly. I watched, gritting my teeth. But after a few steps, a figure appeared from the side and punched John, knocking him to the ground. The figure then pinned John down and started hitting him in the face. There were many people around, but no one stepped in to stop the fight. Maybe they all thought John deserved it? Bill was particularly excited, quietly cheering beside me.
I hadn't expected Bill to have such a strong sense of justice.
Seeing John being beaten to the point where he couldn't stand up, I felt a sense of satisfaction. But the mysterious figure's back seemed familiar. Olivia ran over from the corner, nodded at me, and showed me her phone. The live stream had over 40,000 viewers and was still growing. It was a success.
Great!
I turned to thank Bill. He exchanged a few polite words with me but kept his eyes on John and the mysterious figure. Before I could finish speaking, Bill suddenly rushed forward. By the time I realized what was happening, Bill had replaced the mysterious figure, straddling John and punching him. No wonder he's a big shot in the underworld, every punch landed solidly.
Wow, even knocked out a tooth. I quickly went to break up the fight.
Later, I found out that Bill had rushed in because he saw John pick up a rock and try to attack the mysterious figure. That's why he stepped in to help. In the end, Bill was detained by the police for causing a disturbance. I felt really bad and gave him a big red envelope, tripling the original payment as an apology. But to my surprise, Bill didn't seem to care at all. He even felt proud of himself for being a rare justice warrior. Unfortunately, the police didn't allow unrelated people to stay too long, so I never found out who the mysterious figure was. The next day, Emily lay on her dorm bed and opened the campus network's trending posts. As expected, the top post was the recording of yesterday's live stream. Enthusiastic netizens had even made parody videos and memes out of it. John had become somewhat of a celebrity now.
Laughing, these netizens are really talented. Their comments are hilarious.
Just then, Jessica leaned over Emily's bed, signaling her to look at her phone.
Emily, check out the trending topics.
I'm already looking. It's really entertaining.
No, not that. Look at the second trending topic.
Confused, what? Counselor Alex was seen hitting a student on campus, and the school is discussing his dismissal. What?
The mysterious person from yesterday was the counselor? And he got dismissed. A strong sense of guilt washed over Emily. She didn't intend for this to happen, but he got into trouble because of her.
Emily, when did you two get close? He gave you a spot and stood up for you. Our counselor must have deep feelings for you. Shouldn't you go see him? After all, he did it for you.
Is this really the time for gossip?
Emily interrupted Jessica, pulling the bed curtain and hiding under the covers. She opened the chat with the counselor, repeatedly typing and deleting messages. Her mind was in turmoil.
It's not that I'm being overly sentimental, thinking the counselor had feelings beyond a teacher-student relationship. I had his contact because I needed to request leave.
Emily just felt guilty that he lost his job because of her. Hitting a student is a serious matter, and now that it has led to his dismissal, it shows he didn't back down at all. This could potentially end his teaching career. She still remembered the light in his eyes when he taught. For someone like John, it wasn't worth it.
What should I do?
Suddenly, her phone buzzed with a message from the counselor.
What do you want to say?
Emily was startled so much that she almost dropped her phone.
You've been typing for almost half an hour.
After much hesitation, Emily decided to be direct.
Counselor, did you resign?
I was dismissed.
Because of me?
This time, he was the one typing. After what felt like an eternity, he finally replied.
Sorry, the recommendation spot is probably useless now.
Emily's guilt deepened. Even now, he was still thinking about her competition.
Call me Alex.
Emily didn't know how to respond. She hesitated for an entire day and still didn't reply to that message. She fell back into a state of dejection, but this time it wasn't because of John, it was because of Alex. In a tense office filled with palpable hostility, Miss Thompson sat behind her desk, her demeanor cold and dismissive.
What are you doing? She slammed her hand on the desk, eyes blazing with fury.
Oh, you reminded me, remember to sort your trash. She tossed the documents into the trash bin without a second glance.
You!
Your name is Jessica, right? I remember you. Skipping classes, dyeing your hair, messing around with boys, and your grades are bad. I advise you not to get too close to Emily. Our ancestors had a saying, he who stays near ink gets stained black. Didn't your parents teach you that?
Miss Thompson maintained her usual arrogant attitude, completely ignoring the gravity of the situation.
Slander! Apologize to Jessica! Emily's voice echoed through the room, filled with righteous indignation.
But Miss Thompson completely ignored her words, continuing with her condescending tone.
Emily, your crimes are even worse. Collaborating with classmates to forge evidence. I'll give you a chance, withdraw from school yourself.
Emily's heart pounded in her chest, anger boiling over. Just as the tension reached its peak, Counselor Alex stepped forward, his presence commanding attention.
Miss Thompson, may I have a word with you?
Miss Thompson's eyes flickered with surprise but quickly hardened again.
What is it, Alex?
I have evidence to clear Emily's name, to challenge the credibility of the accusations against her.
Miss Thompson's expression faltered for a moment, but she quickly regained her composure.
Fine, let's see what you have.
Alex handed over the documents, his eyes never leaving Miss Thompson's face. The room fell silent as she reluctantly began to read through the pages. After a few tense moments, Miss Thompson's face turned a shade paler, and she looked up with a forced calmness.
It seems, there might have been a misunderstanding. Emily, you are cleared of all accusations.
Emily and her friends let out a collective sigh of relief, but the battle was far from over.
What about the apology? You owe me one.
I apologize.
The words were forced, but they were said. The group left the office, the taste of victory bittersweet. As they stepped outside, Emily turned to Counselor Alex, her eyes filled with gratitude.
Thank you, Alex. I couldn't have done this without you.
I'll always be here for you, Emily.
With the sun setting behind them, Emily felt a renewed sense of hope. The fight wasn't over, but with friends by her side, she knew she could face whatever came next.